Gotta stand in the back of one of the buildings. Nick's like, I gotta get out of here now. Trying to get across to the other side here. No guided tour down here. Case 520. Diesel 600 with a cab. I never actually heard of an International 600 before. I haven't. I don't know. That's like a Waterloo boy there, isn't it? Oh, a Huber. Well, I was wrong. That's why I'm not a John Deere 70. I didn't even know he had John Deeres. Like I said, I was never in this one before. John Deere, just an AR.
This is an older GMD. In line.
Over 1900. It's a four-wheel drive one too. That's conversion. A Cockshot 2050. Behind me here, there's a boom mower on the left. A CBT 8060. I have never even heard of that.
This one don't have a motor.
No motor in it. It's supposed to be. Look, he does have a dozer.
Oh, yeah, that is a dozer.
John Deere dozer. I wonder what tractor that is. It almost looks like a.
I think that's a 40.
Oh, yeah, the dozer, yeah. I meant the one without the motor.
That one.
It almost looks like a 9.
No, that's probably 1050.
Like a 904 or something. I got some. Probably the motors are sitting here for it, is what I'm guessing. One of these two. Big white. Can't get through there, huh, Nick? Huh. Oh boy. Huh.
Make it.
Yep, I'll be alright.
Watch that bar, Jim. Over here.
I heard you.
The lights are behind the door.
Okay. Yep. I was talking to Jim, walked right past this Farmall 806 here. 4-wheel drive. Yeah, it's 4-wheel drive. Glen likes some 4-wheel drives. Jetstar with the boom mower.
Super.
Yeah, Jetstar. Oh, Super Jetstar 3. What is that tractor that has a high lift on it? I didn't even walk past it, didn't pay no attention. Old Oliver 950. 99. Probably. I'm guessing.
Right there. That's a big wasp.
Where are you pointing at, Nick? Oh, yeah. Right there on top of the muffler. Yeah. Well, I don't know what that is.
I think that's a Massey.
Oh, that's the loader. Ottawa. A UTL D1. It's a 1954.
That's a Massey.
One of 114. It is a Massey.
The reason being, you can tell because of the front end.
Right. Yeah, I think you are right, Nick. Yeah, it's a Massey something or other. Yeah, but see, he has it wrote down that it's one of 114 made, a UTIL D1.
The only reason he has it is it's rare.
Yeah.
It's first one made.
Yeah, either or. This Oliver 99 is pretty cool. Oliver, a couple of John Deeres. Glen's got a little bit of everything. Is there a tractor brand he's actually missing, Nick? He doesn't have a Gravely, we'll have to tell him that. Not that I found yet.
This is the one he used for plowing, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that is the door that opens down here.
I think it is. So that or the one next to it.
We'll have to look at my plow video from last year, Nick, and I can tell you.
I think it was this one.
Probably, well, I could tell this one was at the fair. 18, yeah, it was there this year.
I think it was this one
Yep.
he plows with.
Alright, you said they're behind the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that sold this tractor come up to me at the fair there about 4 years ago and said, I sold 2 of these tractors. And
Because Norman Earhart had one,
Mm-hmm.
and he traded it back in.
Yeah,
Because he was having trouble with something on the back.
yeah.
He broke a couple times.
Jerry. Two-wheel drive.
Yeah, the two-wheel drive version.
806 four-wheel drive.
To me, the 806 was probably
A good,
one of the better ones that International ever built.
Four-wheel drive are rare.
yeah. Well, there's a fair amount of them, you know.
Yeah.
You
International.
don't see them.
No, not too much, but you get to go to the international, national shows and
Shows.
stuff. There's a fair amount
Yeah.
that show up.
You don't see them in the wild per se, I guess.
You know, there
As we
was
call
one, a 706 sold right down here at Harrisfield this
Really?
summer. I think it brung 18,000 or something. And why it brung so much, it was a gas model. They couldn't
Oh,
make
instead of a
hardly any
diesel.
with a gas model front wheel assist. If it had been a diesel, it wouldn't have brung that much, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. Yeah, like you said, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, there was a guy in Oklahoma that made so many of these up with the propane. And I've only ever seen one other. There's a guy in Ohio that has one. Now there's some that maybe it was made up and the guys put them back because the 950 gasoline, they didn't make very many of them. So less than 100 of them. It might, I don't even remember, it might be like less than 30 of them.
That's a mower.
Yeah, a bank mower.
Why can't they make them like that nowadays?
Well, it's pretty crude, you know, and the way they make them, you know, and now, you know, that,
It'd be nicer getting rid of cattails in a pond.
well, I've done that with this one here.
Yes, that would be the.
You know, it'll boom out 20 feet.
Oh my.
Oh,
Well, you do a lot of
If you
bank
boom
mowing with
that thing
that.
out the way it's sitting there now, that mower will come clean back here to the, back here like.
That'd be a cat.
This here's a little Wagner. They made
that's
the,
what I say.
the little, they made the 14s and the 17s, they were monsters. But they were, every part looks just like this one here. This one's just a miniature. In Montana, you know, what hurt them, they made them with that Detroit, and they actually were too small for Montana. But they never
Right.
sold any in the East, you know, because
They
it
probably
would have been
sold.
too big for back here. So, but they're real collectible.
For the 720 propane.
Yeah, that tractor there is pretty rare. They're like, it's a Wheatland with an adjustable Wheatland front end, and at one time, 15 years ago, if it had that front end, that meant the tractor was worth $2,000 more. Well, that's all went away now. They might bring $500 more now. But this is a Wheatland, and it has a 3-point hitch on it. And I paid good
That's
money
strange.
for it, but you don't see too many Wheatlands with a 3-point hitch on them.
Right, yeah, I see it back there.
The Marshall.
Nah, it's an MRS, all-wheel drive.
Oh, isn't that one
It's
what they called the Marshall?
Nah,
It's a Mrs. Das all.
Mississippi tractor. And the story behind them is, yeah, they made them for the farm. This one was an industrial, but there was a guy here that actually, when he was in school, college, he run one of these for a farmer out in the state of Indiana. But the thing is with this tractor, you know what the case four-wheel drives that look like this, the 1200s and stuff like that,
Mhm.
they were 1470s?
Look at a crab walking at.
Well, MRS went to Case and said, hey, we want you to go in with us, you know, and they said, we'll bring a tractor up and we'll look at it. So they had all their engineers look it over. They said, no, we don't want to do it. The next year, Case came out with the 1200. They sold
Their idea.
all that
Yep.
right off of MRS. These here are exactly the same rear ends, everything other, instead of saying MRS, it says Case across there.
Well, I run Jacob's 1470.
One that wasn't. They were.
They're all Wheatlands. I guess that's true. You don't see a Minneapolis with a 3-point on too often.
Not in these old ones like that.
No.
And if you put one, have to put one of these on, it takes 3 men and a boy to put one of them up in under there.
Oh, I imagine.
Well, I'm sure it looks heavy just looking at it. If you're skinny, you can get around the back. If
Yeah,
you're not,
Propane, they didn't make, or 600, they didn't make too many propane. But somebody painted this one all orange, at one time. It should be cream color. You can see where I kind of stripped the paint off of it a little
Right.
bit, just to kind of make it back a little bit what it's supposed to look like.
Now, these Z's, this is the way the exhaust came from the factory.
Yeah.
This Jacobs had one of these with the carburetors on.
Mm.
That might even be there.
The this one here is a 620 or 520, and Case made a ton of 500s, and they were good tractors. But this is a 520, and the only difference is this one has they have a foot clutch and a straight axle instead of a bowed. They were kind of like a tug tractor. They had the industrial kind of more, like you might say. It had high lifts on or different stuff.
No, actually I haven't. And that's
Well, Nick-
probably a factory cab.
600, this one come from up in Canada. They only made these a half a year. They're a tractor that everybody wanted back when now you don't see them for sale, and they don't bring any more money than they did 15 years ago, you know. They just, I don't know, you would have thought that they would have went up in value a little bit, but they haven't, you know. But
I've noticed there's only certain brands that,
Only certain things
that
too.
people buy.
yeah.
How straight that thing is.
I know. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
it's in real nice shape.
Now this one here is the one that defined the men between the boys.
Yeah.
You could run one of these all day long, you could call yourself a man.
You know, this tractor's a pretty easy tractor to drive. A lot of them old steel wool tractors were buggers, and there's quite a few of these survived. They sold a lot of them, and a lot of them survived. And I think, you know, back in the day, they were good tractors. They steer really easy, where a lot of the steel wool tractors, they steered like shit, you know.
See all these automatic ones?
Yeah,
In
the
the
screw.
day they were automatic
Yeah.
oilers. You got them on the wheels and everything.
Now they made, this one here was just a Uber 4, then they made a Super 4. The only thing was different, the motor had an overhead cam on it. It had like aluminum valve cover pan.
Did this have one of the oilers on it you had to crank up?
These ones didn't.
No, okay.
But this is the one I put a newer carburetor. The old original carburetor's in the toolbox there. But when you drive this tractor here, you have to go in a whole different mindset. Everything, you learn to do everything slow. You know, you don't have an oil pressure gauge. You know, it got like a pipe coming with a clear sight glass in. If you got oil going through that, then you know you got oil pressure. You know, it's just.
Oh wow.
Detroit.
1900 was a Detroit. This is the only tractor I ever bought in Utah. That's where this one comes from.
Oh, there's a caulk shop.
Yeah. They didn't make very many four-wheel drive Cockshaw 2050s. This here's a pretty decent one.
These all have Detroits in them.
No, these are all Cockshaws,
Waukesha.
Waukeshaws.
Then the cat.
And the only difference between a 150 and a 2050 was this one had a turbo and that one didn't.
Oh,
That changed the horsepower
right.
by
Yeah.
about 10-15 horsepower.
And this is one of the ones with the cat in.
Yeah. Them are real collectible tractors. And you know, as far as my concerned, it's one of the prettier tractors that was ever made, a 2255.
5,
We knew the international one that they made.
3150 cat in it.
Mhm.
I always thought that was a good looking tractor.
Yeah. And they bring good money anymore. Even if they really weren't that good of a
Guess it
tractor,
was just a
this
phone.
was a better tractor than them. The motors weren't near as good as this motor was.
Yeah. Well, what's this one over here?
That's another G1000 Vista. And you know, I bought that tractor up in Minnesota. No motor with it. And quite a few years ago. And at that time I paid $7,000 for it. I thought I was out of my goddamn mind, you know, paying $7,000 for that thing. Well, then all of a sudden them tractors jumped up to $30,000, $40,000, you know. So the way it's sitting there now, even if their prices is down, it's still worth $15,000 the way it's sitting right now because they only made
That's
53
money in
of
the
it.
bank.
Huh?
That's
Oh.
money in the bank.
Yeah. And I have that one good one up there with the duals, and then the other one has the car motor in. So I have 3 of them, you know. But yeah, a few years ago, that tractor would have brung $20,000 away.
Well,
It's a-
didn't you build one with a Chrysler motor in it, or?
No, that's one that's up there like this here that has that motor in.
So, yeah, somebody,
Years ago, I had a modified tractor.
Yeah.
It was in a Massey Harris.
Okay, because Greg was telling me you used to plow with it or something.
Disc with it. I done all the discing
and
on it.
you would throw dirt